If you're like me and be following politics quite a lot, you might be really, really confused and all over the place with what is happening with like Israel, Iran, as well as the United States. It's crazy. It's all over the place. And I mean, I, I'm just going to break down every single piece of information that I have because a lot of it right now is like, where are we going? What are we doing? What's going on? And it's not easy to try and understand. I know also today's live stream is going to be a little bit shorter. So I appreciate every single one of you that is going to be tuning in for just this short little burst, this short little segment. So right now, we are possibly on the brink of war with Iran on behalf of Israel. And you're like, wait, what? Hold on. Is this going to be like another Iraq situation where they claim that they have weapons of mass destruction and then we go in there and use our troops and our military to then fight a war? Yep. They're trying to do it again. They're trying to do it again. And look, my theory, this isn't evidence, but my theory, speculation, is that the deeper interests of weapons contractors, they're like, oh yeah, we need to just keep excavating cheap oil in the region, so let's go through and try to blame it on using racism to try and fearmonger about people in different countries, specifically Muslims. I am not the biggest fan of Tulsi Gabbard, our director of national intelligence, but I trust her when she says, yeah, we've been doing these audits and we do not see any evidence that they are putting together like these weapons. So I don't understand why all these people are trying to ramp up and animate the situation further. I'm also not going to pretend like I am an expert on this situation. I am much more concerned and oriented around domestic affairs. So that's more of my specialty. That being said, I'm going to be breaking down what I do know about everything happening. It is all over the place. First off, let me just acknowledge, if you are like, I have no idea what's going on, I've seen stuff about it, I haven't even tried paying attention to it because it's like, what is going on? You're not alone. Me too. As someone who's like very, very tuned in with what's happening in this country politically, even I am like, what the fuck is going on? So you're not the only one. You know, there's a lot of people in that same boat. And look, I think that a lot of people in the United States, regardless of your political affiliation, regardless of your race, sex, religion, a lot of people in the United States were like, we don't want to go to war. We don't want to go to war. So this was a poll that was recently taken from YouGov and The Economist. And they found that across the political spectrum, for the most part, it's pretty even. No one. The one thing that I feel like can really unite most all of American citizens is, no, we do not want another war. No, we don't. We don't want our troops to be on the ground in another pointless war fought for rich people trying to get cheap oil and destabilize countries even further for the pursuit of fictional made-up weapons of mass destruction or nukes. Like, sorry, the one thing that is going to bring, like, progressives, liberals, MAGA, and, like, other right-wing people together is the fact that no one wants another war, okay? No one wants another war. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. This is the poll breaking down. Most Americans think that U.S. military should not get involved in the conflict between Israel and Iran. As you can see in here, look at this. Look at this. 60% of people say no. That's a majority. But also, you break it down by party affiliation, yeah, you see it. It's a little bit less for Republicans, but still, like, it's pretty close to half and half. So credit where credit is due. Like, We don't need another fictional scenario that's supposed to bait us into then sending troops into the region even further. And when trying to break all this down, it is so hard to know what's actually going on. Let me show you four different headlines from literally within the past like 2 days, 48 hours. So our president, Trump, is looking for better than a ceasefire. What is better than a ceasefire? Like, what? What is better than a ceasefire? What? And that's number one. Number two, he's not looking for a ceasefire and then criticizes his own director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who doesn't want military intervention. Like, someone's asking me if I love Putin. That's completely besides the subject. Like, go away. Trump weighs joining in on Iran strikes after calling for unconditional surrender. It's like, and that's another thing. That's another thing. He's like, unconditional surrender, but then he's like maybe going to be joining in. So what is going on? Let me actually show you some of Donald Trump's posts on Truth Social. This is probably not going to clarify things any further, all right? He said, and let me get out my little hands here. Let me get out the little hands. He said, Iran should have signed the deal. I told them to sign. What a shame and a waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. Now, here's the thing. Iran has not used or dropped nuclear weapons on other countries, to my knowledge. That was the United States. That's the United States. All of this fear-mongering about smaller, low-income Muslim countries being super, super dangerous. We've fallen down this path before. The military interventionists that propagate and lobby on behalf of weapons contractors to build up more of our military arsenal supply and have our citizens die in needless wars for cheap oil and a powerful rich person's game and treating us like pawns. Sorry, we've fallen down that road several times. And if it's one thing that really brings like Democrats, Republicans, progressives, MAGA, all of this together, is we don't want that kind of crap tilt-a-whirl sort of merry-go-round, thing again. We don't want that. We don't. So we should be, in fact, blaming the same person who tore up the existing Iran nuclear deal. Oh, wait, that was Trump. I'll talk about that further. But, he goes on. He's like, America first means many great things, including the fact that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I'm not a MAGA, but I assume that America first means that you're focused on America as a country first instead of dabbling in foreign affairs, which is, I think, what a lot of people in MAGA truly do actually view it that way. And credit where credit is due. I subscribe to that kind of idea. But also at the same time, intervening and trying to fight a war on behalf of Israel against Iran is not America first. Although, again, I'm not MAGA. I don't make up those definitions. I don't subscribe to MAGA whatsoever. But I feel like a lot of people who were like, yeah, that's what it's supposed to mean. As well as, a lot of transphobia and homophobia and racism and demonizing undocumented immigrants. But we don't need to talk about that today. But publicity, this is also something that he said. Publicity-seeking President Emmanuel Macron of France mistakenly said that I left the G7 summit in Canada to go back to DC to work on a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Wrong again, Emmanuel, wrong again, macaroon boy. Wrong again. He has no idea. No idea why I'm on my way to Washington, but it certainly has nothing to do, nothing to do with a ceasefire. So, to all the people who truly believe that Donald Trump is this anti-war person, he's considering our military fighting a war, not just giving money to Israel to fight this war. No. You know, if you're, for all these people that are like, that criticize the aid in Ukraine, I get it. It's our taxpayer dollars going overseas to fight endless war. That sucks. That sucks. But this goes one step even further beyond that. That's us sending our military personnel, our equipment, our arsenal to fight a war on behalf of another country that is, in fact, committing a genocide against Palestinian people. So for anyone who is like, yeah, I voted for Trump, he's the anti-war candidate, sorry, it's okay to admit that you were duped. And then you're like, oh, well, what's the alternative? Voting for Biden or Kamala Harris? Yeah, they're one step less bad in this specific regard. It's okay to admit that. It shows strength when you admit that you were duped or incorrect or something like that. So to the credit of many people in MAGA, I'm seeing them be very against this. And I'm like, good, let's all be on the same page. That's awesome. Like, it's crazy seeing all of this. He said he has no idea why I need my hands, why I am going back on my way to Washington. It certainly has nothing to do with the ceasefire. Actually, it's bigger than that. What's bigger than a ceasefire? It's bigger and better than a ceasefire. Also, again, put that in context. This is also the same guy. This is also the exact same guy. He's like, I'm looking for a better than that. It's like he's also considering just joining the war and like sending personnel and weapons for us to fight Iran on behalf of Israel. Like, how can you say that you want more than just a ceasefire when you are then saying like, I don't want to be a part of the game, but you know what? I'm about to jump in and play. I'm about to roll, but I also don't want to be a part of the game. I don't want to be a part of the game. I just want to sit here and be pretty and look poised and all of that. But you know, but I'm about to roll. I'm going to land on, and I'm going to buy the Park Place. This is a 4D chess move of Monopoly, you know. How can you say that you want more than a ceasefire, but then also weigh in on wanting to then attack and fight a war on behalf of another country that's not our own? Is your version of more than a ceasefire complete and utter chaos and war? This is the thing. To people, this is what Donald Trump does in every single facet of his existence. He is a living embodiment of the idea of hypocrisy and contradiction. That is all he does. He wavers back and forth. That's what he calls it, the weave. He even named it himself. He just weaves back and forth. Am I anti-war? Am I pro-war? Am I anti-war? Am I pro-war? You know what? I'm just prolapse. Let me tell you. It's crazy. So, and I mean, I don't know how else to explain all of this, but let me put a little bit more in context here, and I have to go in 4 minutes. I know it's going to be a short live today, okay? So, Trump says that he's not looking for a ceasefire, and he's now mad at his own Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. If you all are familiar, our Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is actually a former Democratic Congresswoman. I'm not a fan of hers. She's a little... She does a lot of bidding on behalf of Russia, from my understanding, which is not great. But then also, she is a little bit of a reservationist and not wanting to be intervened, which I can understand the merits of. So, I'm not the biggest fan of hers, but credit where credit is due. So back a while ago, back in March, she actually gave a hearing towards I think it was a hearing for the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, where she's like, look, Iran is doing enriched uranium, but there's no evidence to show that they're actually using that enriched uranium to then produce military weapons. This is Trump's appointee for the Director of National Intelligence being like, look, I've reviewed all the intelligence and it's not showing that Iran is going to be enriching this uranium to make nuclear weapons. So they're not violating anything. Yet, literally Republican senators are not listening to the Director of National Intelligence appointed by Trump. And in fact, Donald Trump is completely dismissing what she says. This is our head. Think of the Director of National Intelligence as like, this is the person that has all the intel around everything happening in the international community for relations. And they're not listening to her. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of hers. But like, if you are appointed like that, then you give a testimony, like if you say false information, then you will go to jail. But like, she's saying, hey, there's no evidence to show that they're doing this for nefarious intentions with nuclear weapons or anything. And all of these Republican senators are taking that and just completely dismissing it. And they're being like, oh, I think this, I think that, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, where's your evidence? Where's your evidence? So the U.S. Intelligence Agency's Annual Threat Assessment, ATA, is billed as an opportunity for the American people to receive an unvarnished and unbiased account of the real and present dangers that our nation faces. And that's according to Senator Tom Cotton, a Republican from Arkansas and chair of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, who personally presided over a public hearing this year to hear its conclusions. It's too bad that neither he nor any other senator who sits on the committee seem to pay attention to it. Hold on, let me turn on my car because my phone is getting hot. Sorry. Whenever I always do these live streams in my car, and so my phone can get really, really hot if I don't have the car on with the AC blowing on it. So on March 25th, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard delivered the U.S. Intelligence Committee, IC, collective conclusions covering a broad swath of national security issues and geographic areas, including the threat posed by Iran and its possible development of a nuclear weapon. The IC, the International Committee, continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and that Supreme Leader, I'm not going to be able to pronounce that, Khamenei, has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended back in 2003. So she's like, look, they're not doing it. They're just enriching uranium. They have no plans to make it into any sort of weapon whatsoever. Now, I'm not sure what enriched uranium can be used for other than that. But at the same time, I think that it's very valid for us to believe if there's not evidence of them using this to then build a weapon, then we can't assume that's what it's for, you know? Like, just because I am sharpening a knife doesn't mean I am going to then hurt someone with it. It means that I could also be preparing to cook something. So that's the same kind of idea. Just because you're doing something that it could be that, it doesn't mean that it is that. It's the same with the idea of like the weapons of mass destruction. This is the same playbook they play over and over. How many times are the American people going to fall for it? Yet, despite this testimony, most of the committee members have issued statements over the past days and weeks that have entirely ignored this assessment, instead painting a picture of Iran speeding towards a nuclear bomb and Israel's self-proclaimed preemptive war against Iran as an unavoidable and understandable act of self-defense. Here's the thing. You know the two countries that are fear-mongering about Iran having nuclear weapons? Guess who those people are? The United States and Israel. Guess who has nuclear weapons? The United States and Israel. Why are we fear-mongering about them having it? anyway, like, what we should be working toward is deterrence, meaning that no one has nuclear weapons. This is a bad idea. And to her credit, it seems like Tulsi Gabbard signs on to that idea. So, and all of this includes Tom Cotton himself, where he's like, yeah, you know, they're using it to make weapons. He also claimed that a week ago, Secretary Pete Hegseth confirmed that Iran's terrorist regime is actively working towards a nuclear weapon. What's so interesting is when you actually go and look at his post on X or Twitter, whatever it's called. I love this. Readers added context. Hegseth did not say this. And no wonder. Like, again, Republicans and Democrats are a lot of them are bought by different interests depending on different things. But one lobby that gets both of them is AIPAC and defense contractors. Tom Cotton's campaigns, I don't know what the timeline is here, but has taken, I'm guessing this is probably a total, or maybe it's just this year, $1,197,000 for his campaign. Now, to be clear, money in politics, that doesn't mean that it's going directly to his pocket. One thing about money in politics that people might not understand, when you hear, oh, this senator, this representative took $1.1 million in money from AIPAC, that's not going directly to their personal pocket. That goes to their campaign to get them elected. Some of that could go to their pocket. That's what things like George Santos, that's why he got indicted, because he used money from his campaign to personally enrich himself. That's illegal. The way that these politicians get rich in office is that they take corporate money to then build a campaign, get reelected through prolific, nonstop ads, TV, digital, all of that stuff. And I'm saying this as a former political organizer. I worked for people that didn't take corporate PAC money. But they would also make a lot of money in office because they would hire people to manage stocks. And so they, instead of focusing on delivering results or helping American people, they would have people that manage and trade stocks for them. So it's like, and then they can use the inside information that they have as a lawmaker to then outperform the stock market, like Nancy Pelosi or like Virginia Fox, some of the biggest stock traders in Congress. Does that all make sense? So, people like Tom Cotton here has taken a lot of money from AIPAC. So people are like, how about you focus on the only terrorist country that actually has nukes, and that's Israel. And look, these people, I was looking at their profiles, like it's pretty safe for me to assume that they kind of lean right. So credit where credit is due. It's like Arkansas. Senator Tom Cotton is one of the senators from Arkansas. Well, look at that. It ranks 50th for food insecurity, 50th for teen birth rate, tie, adult female obesity, 49th, adults reporting frequent mental and physical distress, 49th, smoking rates amongst adult women, 49th, overall healthiness, 48th, healthcare access, 48th, crime and corrections, 48th. Like, So, going further with all of this, Trump is pissed. He is so angry that he now looks like a fool because he said, oh, I don't care that she said that. I don't care that she said that there's nothing there. There's something there. So at one point, I don't care what she said. I think they're very close to having one. What's the main takeaway? I think. Trump says, I think they're very close to having one. You don't know. You don't have proof. You don't have evidence. You say, I think. Well, the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is saying, yeah, we know that's not true. So anyway, I have to go here because I need to get to work. But as a quick little takeaway here, if you've enjoyed the live stream, please make sure to smash that subscribe button. I try to give you the full context about everything. I try to come at it from different angles. I will tell you if I know something to be true. I will tell you if I am not quite sure about something and tell you to go and fact check it yourself. I love all of you so much. Shout out to my amazing moderators. Make sure to center your politics in critical thinking and empathy. Empathy for other people, not just political issues that affect you, but affect everyone. Because we're all stronger as a country together which means understanding and celebrating our diversity, but then also recognizing our differences too, and being okay with that, and looking at what unifies us. So that all being said, it is so crazy because one thing that a lot of Americans are not on board with is endless war. And right now, our president, Donald Trump, it looks like he's trying to help Israel do their bidding, fighting and like with Iran. And look, we don't need more war. Israel is committing a genocide right now in Gaza. And now they're tiffing with Iran. We don't need to be giving them any more. Like right now, our country is funding the genocide that's happening over there. But this is just a whole nother level. Like, we cannot fight this war on behalf of Israel. Sorry, we can't. If you're one of these America First people, I hope that you stand on your principle of not wanting us to send more and more money over there. Ukraine, I understand their position, and I largely can somewhat agree with it. That's a whole nother subject. Why don't we be united on this front? We don't need to be a part of this war. We don't. Plus, it's not our war to fight. We shouldn't be sending military personnel or more weapons over there. It's just, it only helps out the weapons contractors that donate to campaigns. We, the American people, don't want war. So, and it's borne out by the numbers. Anyway, I gotta go. If you've enjoyed this live stream, please make sure to smash that subscribe button. To be clear, I think it's important for us to stand in solidarity with Ukraine because they were invaded by Russia. Now, if you want to criticize or have a critique of that, yes, it sucks that we are spending a lot of our taxpayer dollars to then help defend Ukraine. But I would say, look, it's kind of a little bit more in America's interest because, and you're like, well, why? Why? Well, because the Soviet Union, or former Soviet Union, Russia, is a big competitor of ours. Plus, they also just invaded another country. So, yeah, we should stand with them in doing that. Now, if you want to critique, oh, is the money actually going to funding blah, 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 like actual resistance instead of just to the pockets of deep state weapons contractors, that's a very valid position, and I agree with you on that. I overall do not like the idea of us sending a lot of money overseas to fight foreign wars. I don't. With Ukraine, it's a tiny bit nuanced because they were just invaded. And they're kind of they're an ally of ours. So if your friend is smacked over the face and they're bleeding, you want to be able to help them. It sucks that you have to use up your own personal medical cabinet to then give them first aid, but that's what you do for a friend. Does that all make sense? Israel right now is just going out and beefing with other people. And we're like, no, we don't need to be dragged in that. We don't. Anyway, I love all of you. Shout out to my amazing moderators in here. Ellie, Akicha, Elisa, y'all are all incredible. Kate, Jenny, Joanna Tech. I could not do any of this without you all. Cherie, love you. Y'all are incredible. So, if you enjoyed the live stream, please make sure to smash that subscribe button. Y'all are incredible. I will be giving more and more updates as time goes on. And I appreciate every single one of you, even if you hate me, okay? Even if you hate me, I'm still going to send you love and good vibes. So just remember, dude, drop the fake gay accent. Dude, drop the fake gay outrage. This is my voice. This is my existence. If you can't handle that, dude, maybe you're the snowflake. Maybe you're the snowflake. Just saying. I get those comments all the time, and it's like, they think that they're strong men. They think they're super, super strong men. It's like, look, being strong is I'm not even gonna get into it. My skin is so thick, it's like a wallet. So don't even come at me, dude. Anyway, I love all of you. Just remember that you are beautiful, you are loved, you are valid, you are strong, and you are fierce. Don't let anyone or anything ever, 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 ever dim your shine. I love all of you so, so much. Bye.